Marlon Bankston. Today, it is my great pleasure to bring to our cameras singer, songwriter, composer, Hailey Massingale. Hello, Hailey. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you, Marlon?
I'm okay. Hey, for those, just for clear disclosure, Hailey and I work together. I'm working with her on some of her projects, and so we know each other very well. So if we get goofy, forgive us, because this is us. Hey, Hailey, because I really want people to know who you are and know all the wonderful things about your talent and what you do. So let me ask you this. First of all, what has been going on? How have you been managing the COVID, the pandemic?
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster for sure. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but there's definitely been some good things that have come from it. So, I've been able to take a little time, and I was telling Roz I was able to organize and reorganize and organize again a bunch of my stuff around the house, and just kind of take a second to focus on some of the important things, and just getting rid of stuff in my house that I know I don't use anymore, and just kind of purging and simplifying my life a little bit. That's been something good that's come from it. But on the other side, I did get furloughed from my job, which was tough, but it's given me a little perspective, a little bit of time to be creative, to get my things together around my space. So I've been grateful for it, but it hasn't been a walk in the park, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's almost like a time of renewal or something, just in a funny way.
Yeah.
Everything does a restart and just levels the playing field, as far as I'm concerned, on a lot of fronts, particularly in the entertainment industry, I believe. So one of the other reasons for bringing this broadcast to the forefront, produced by Roz McCommon, is that we're wanting to showcase talents that people may not ordinarily get a chance to view or see. And there's some very special talents that are roundabout. So we've been doing quite a number, and I'll shut up and get right down to the question of you, if that's okay. Let's talk about your history, Hailey. Who is Hailey Massingale?
Ooh, who is Hailey? That's a big question. Well, you never expect someone to ask you that.
We'll wait.
No, gosh, I've been playing the guitar for a little while now, and I've always kind of had a fascination with writing songs. I remember the first song I ever wrote, it was such a juvenile song, and it was just so elementary level ABC. It was called I Love Life, and I still have it written down in my diary, and there's bedazzled falling off of it. There's page all wrinkled up and everything, and I still have it by my bedside, and I still look at it, and it's just kind of like a reminder of where I started, and then how my songwriting kind of developed. And it was a way for me to just it's more about putting a feeling into something musical. Whenever I write a song, I want it to really sound like how that feeling at the time made me feel, if that makes sense. And that was kind of a way for me to channel some of my emotions into something constructive. And so that became a big part of me and a big part of my personality, and kind of led me to be creative in that way when I otherwise didn't have any creative interests at the time. And it kind of blossomed into this real big part of my personality. So over the years I've really channeled that, and that's become a big part of me. So yeah.
So you're safe to say, when one asks you who is Hailey Massingale, you're a guitarist and songwriter, right? That would be the first two words that would come to mind. But going behind that and going to the evolution of Hailey Massingale to get to that, what should the viewers know about you as your background, family background, for example? Where were you born?
So I was born in New Orleans, and most of my family's there right now. We kind of like are the only little spawns here in the Midwest in Kansas City, and the rest of our family kind of gives us crap for it, and they don't know why we're here, but I personally love it. We wouldn't still be here if we didn't love it here. But, you know, I definitely have those roots back home, and I grew up in a completely different environment than, you know, you take the South and New Orleans and where I'm from, and then you take Kansas City and you try to merge them together, and it's just like the most odd combination of like things that you would never think to put together. But it's kind of made me who I am today, you know. And I was fortunate to grow up in a really great school, but I was also fortunate to be able to see a bunch of different types of culture and eat some unbelievably amazing, you know, food, and just get to be such a cool part of that growing up. And it's still instilled in me and my family, and I'm so grateful that, you know, I have that culture within me, and that I know how to cook, and you know, I know a lot about, you know, what music is, you know, true to the soul and true to the heart. So I'm really grateful for still having that and being able to kind of like fuse those two things together to make, you know, my personality and who I am.
So my father's, you may know this, my father's side of the family is from Louisiana. I have many cousins and singers and preachers and whatever, and all of them, they have when they sing, there's a certain flavor to their singing. I like to think of it as like Cajun spice or something. What about you? Is there a spice? And if so, what Cajun or what type of spice is in your sing? What
it's
flavor
actually Zatarain's.
Is it
Zatarain's? A little bit of Old Bay. Red chili flakes in there somewhere.
You talking serious soul now. So you're okay. So what age when did you move to Midwest, Kansas City, to get the Kansas City?
Well, it's kind of been like, I bounced around a little bit. So I think I was pretty young when I came here for the first time. I think I was around 5 years old. And we did so much going back and forth for so long because my dad's job just, you know, he was traveling a lot at the time. But they were also kind of, you know, transplanting him to different areas to take control of different projects. And one of them was in Kansas City. So, you know, I moved here, but we ended up actually moving back when I was, I think I was around 12 or 13. We moved back to New Orleans, and I lived there for a little bit, and then we came back to Kansas City again after that. And there was a lot of back and forth, but it was cool. I mean, I got to see my family a lot, and one of the things that I really appreciated is I was able to see and appreciate New Orleans in a completely different light versus when I was just a little kid. I didn't understand the culture. I didn't understand, you know, why things were different and why the food was different and where all of that came from. And it was really cool to have kind of grown up a little bit and be able to go back and really truly appreciate that and know, oh, that's why I am the way I am. That's why I love to cook, or that's why I appreciate this type of music, because I was able to see it with, you know, a little bit of a bigger head on my shoulders, if that makes sense. So we did bounce around for, you know, quite some time for the majority of, you know, me growing up. For the most part, I was here in Kansas City, but like I said, it was great to be able to, you know, have those roots there and be reminded of where I came from. And I'm sure I would feel the same if I go back today, because I'm long overdue for a crawfish boil. I can tell you that.
What's family background? Mom and dad, or is either one of them musical? Where did music come from?
I see, that is a mystery to me. I don't know I don't know what to make of that. I kind of just, it came out of nowhere, to be honest with you. My family's always loved music, and growing up, it's always been a big part of just our family and just being, around the house. My mom was always playing Sheryl Crow, or they were always playing, they had something going, whether it was jazz or, we were listening to that more like Creole influenced jazz in New Orleans, and it was always, something playing. And it just, I don't know why, but whenever we moved into that kind of like Sheryl Crow era, I became kind of fixated on that. She was my first real inspiration, and I knew my mom really liked her, and she kind of reminded me a little bit of my mom. And I just thought her music was just so cool and effortless, and I hadn't heard anybody just kind of like, she would just kind of start talking in the middle of her songs sometimes, and I just thought that was just so cool. And she just didn't really care. She just made music that she wanted to hear, and it just, it really came from the heart, and it was just so unique and different. And that's kind of when I started to really think maybe I could do something like that,
Do you remember the exact moment when music hit you, when you said, this is what I want to do? Do you remember when that was?
So yeah, there was an exact moment for me, for sure. I remember I was 13 and I was living in New Orleans, and we had just moved into our rental house there. And what was so bizarre is this was after Katrina happened. And so I remember the lady that was renting us the house telling us that it was almost completely underwater, which was just so bizarre to wrap my head around. It was right by the lake, right by Lake Pontchartrain. And she showed us there was like a line on the house, and she was like, this is where the water went up to before they had to drain everything out. And it was just like coming from a place where you're in Kansas City, and it just like, it rains every once in a while, and that's not a big deal. And just to go, it was just like, the whole thing was a very like big shock for all of us. And, just going through the cleanup of all that disaster and everything, it was a lot. But I remember being there after that all happened. The Super Bowl was going down. I was 13, and I was just surrounded by all of this like excitement and culture, and just everything was buzzing. It was Mardi Gras, and I just wanted to be a part of that buzz in some capacity. And I remember literally waking up one day and just deciding I wanted to learn how to play the guitar. And my parents had a guitar, and it hit me. I always looked at it, and it was just like, it was there, but it literally just came on one day, and I was like, I definitely want to learn, I want to teach myself. And it was a little baby Taylor that they had. It was just like a little mini acoustic Taylor guitar, and it was perfect. It was the perfect size for me. I was 13. I was like, it couldn't be better. Like, I had this little mini guitar to learn a couple chords on, and so that's what I started doing. I remember the first song that I ever learned was Our Song by Taylor Swift, which is weird that I didn't learn a Sheryl Crow song. Don't ask me why, but it was an easy song to learn. I remember it was D, A, E minor, G, and I truly thought that I had struck gold by learning that song. I was like, I've done it. I've learned these 4 chords. I can do anything with these 4 chords. And I couldn't stop playing it. I thought it was so cool. I'm like, listen, Mom, like, it sounds just like, this Taylor Swift song, and I wanted to get it so that it could sound just like her. And from that point, it was like, there's no reason why if she picked up her guitar, if Sheryl Crow picked up her guitar and made something from that, and just, started with whatever chords they started with, there's no reason I couldn't do the same.
So any plans for, entertainment where you perform so people can see your performances? What kind of plans you got on that?
Yeah, so I know since, I don't know when like real concerts are going to be a thing. I'm hoping sooner rather than later. I've been hearing all kinds of, rumors, but I'm hoping that they figure out a way to make it happen sooner rather than later. I've even seen people like putting, extra distance around. I don't know. Hopefully it becomes a thing. But for right now, we're trying to observe social distancing, and we're trying to, we're all in different places. We're still in Kansas City, all of us, but to try to stay as safe as possible, we've been trying to remotely kind of like assemble performances, which we've been able to figure out with relative, ease. I'm proud of us. But other than that, as far as like doing something live or doing something, like virtual live, that's something that's definitely in the works that we're trying to figure out the logistics of right now. So, definitely I'm going to be posting on my website. There's a section on my website that says like upcoming gigs and, just tells about my events. So as soon as we know anything about like a live performance, I'm just going to post it there like I would a regular event, so that you guys will be able to tune in for that. It'll totally be free, but, we will be accepting tips if anybody wants to contribute to our fund and contribute to our dream. So, but I will definitely be letting you guys know when that becomes a thing, because I can't wait for you guys to hear some of the originals. And then we're going to do some covers kind of in our own way too, and maybe some throwbacks that I am excited for you guys to hear done in my way. So be on the lookout for that for sure.
Hey, one last question. Advice. Newcomers, up and coming, young lady like yourself, young man who has the dream and aspirations to get into music and be a songwriter and have a career. What's your advice?
I would say, and this is something that's kind of been brought about recently, I'm always learning new things. Like I tell myself, even though I've been playing for a while now, that I'm still new to this, because like I do feel like I'm learning every day, how to do this better. But something that's helped me a lot recently, and Roz has been, really helpful, just trying to help me organize my creativity lately. And the biggest thing for me in creating has been consistency, to just keep creating, like even when you don't feel like it, like, or even when, you're not inspired, try to just, try to get something done and try to finish a song that's just been put on the back burner for a little bit. Or if you just have that like melody in your head that won't go away and you haven't really done anything with it, like try to sit down and make a chorus out of it, or try to, just be consistent about getting a song or two done every week. So especially during the quarantine, that's been something that is really helpful for me, because it's so much better to have too many songs than it is to not have enough. And that's something that I have realized is so valuable recently. So just as much as you can. I know that being creative people, we tend to get, ADD, we tend to get distracted a lot, and that's part of what makes us who we are. But if you can, try to be as consistent as you can, and that is what's going to get you through. That's what's going to motivate you more than anything.
Our guest today was Hailey Massingale. Hailey, thank you very much for coming on. We're looking forward to seeing some great things coming from you and keeping the public up on to you, okay? This is Marlon Bankston. Thank you, Hailey. This is Marlon Bankston, the guitar player in the corner, signing off. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Marlon.
Sorry, 'cause I don't feel the same way. I know I string you along, and that's wrong. As crazy as it sounds, I hope that you would hang around.